This video will show you some of the things you can do in the attribute table. What we have here is a layer of the United States colored by the percent of adults over age 18 who admit to binge drinking. And it's data that I got from the CDC. We could very quickly just take a quick look at the fields. So let's look at the attribute table. We have information on the state, its population, and then the way the CDC organizes their data is they put the question right in a field. So this would be alcohol use among youth. It tells you that you're going to see a percent, and that percent in Hawaii, 25.1% of youth have admitted to using alcohol. Let's move on a little bit. Data value is that 25.1%. We have another column called data value A that has basically the same information. So what's going on here? This column is left justified, and if you hover over the column header, you see that it is type text. Left justified columns are usually text. Right justified columns are usually numeric. So data value A has a data type that's double, and double is one of the numeric data types. So we just have a text and a numeric copy of the same thing. We have the low and high ends of the confidence interval. And then there's another question. This is binge drinking prevalence among adults over age 18. And again, we'll see percentages. This time we don't have a duplicate column. We just have the percent and the confidence interval. And then there was a third question, and the third question is hidden behind a code ALC2, and I tried to look it up and I can't remember what it was and I couldn't find it again, so we just won't use the information associated with that question. Now, when we make changes to this attribute table, some of those changes will be permanent. They will actually affect the real stored data on disk instead of just the cosmetic things we've been doing so far. So before I get any further into messing with this attribute table, I think I should make a copy of the layer, and then we can do all of our experimentation with the copy. Probably the easiest way to make a copy is just to right-click and do Data, Export Features. And with nothing selected, we will get a copy of all the features in the layer. Here's the layer we want to copy. Here's where we want to put it. We can call it States Binge Copy. And we can just make a copy of it. And there's our copy. And in case you were wondering why there's no Tennessee in this map, it's because one time I was giving a demo using this data and I deleted Tennessee in my original, and I never went back and downloaded another copy or replaced Tennessee, so you should learn from my example and always experiment on a copy. So let's open the attribute table for the copy. It looks just the same, and because we're going to be working so much in the attribute table, I'm going to expand it up here so we can really see it. All right, so what are we able to do? First of all, if we didn't like this column, oh, did we lose the text column? Let me check. I think, okay, somehow we lost duplicate column. I won't worry too much about it. I was going to show you how to delete it. I'll show you how to delete another column instead. Let's move over to the right here. We can delete these columns associated with question 2. So to delete a column, you just click on the top and choose delete. And at this point, because it's going to go away permanently, Pro prompts you to verify that you really want to do it. And this is where I would go take a quick look and make sure that you are editing the layer that you really want to be editing, and delete the selected field. And we can delete this question too. You have to do them one at a time. And all of the things associated with it. Yes. Yes. Delete. And I'll delete that. And then I'm going to try and delete one more. I'll try to delete shape length, and watch what happens when I try to delete shape length. It tells me that that is a required field, and I can't delete it. Well, I'm not going to let that stop me. Even though I can't permanently delete this from the data set, I can hide it. So if we right-click on the top, there's a choice hide field, and we can just hide these so that we don't have to look at them. We can hide anything we don't like the looks of. To make our data table, a little bit easier to navigate. We don't even really need the topic as alcohol because we know that. Let's get rid of crude prevalence here. We're just hiding these just to make the table a little easier to use. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, data value A is a really lousy name for a column. We can't actually change the stored column names, the stored field names. But what we can do is we can give them a better nickname. The way to do this is to right-click on the value, the field name, and go to Fields. Here in Fields, you'll see all of your fields, their real names, and then you'll see their nicknames. And here everything has a nickname that's just exactly the same as its real name. But we could change, what was it, data value A? We could change this to child alc %. And we could change, I believe it was data value 6. We can give it the nickname of adult binge %. Now, we need to save those changes. And you might think that the button to save this was somewhere down here in the attribute table, like at the bottom or something. But it's not. It's right up here in the top. To save changes in the fields or field names, you have to go to this save button. And now if we close this field editor, we have those nicknames showing in the table. So that's just convenient. What else can we do? Well, one thing that's quite scary is we can go in here and hand modify these values. If, if we wanted to be deceptive, we could go in here and say, oh, Hawaii has 25% of its children using alcohol. That's just terrible. We could, change it to 5%. If you did such a thing, which you wouldn't do, at this point, again, you would have to save this modification. This kind of modification is called an edit. And you'll notice that the edit menu is live at the top of the screen, and you would save it here. But we're not dishonest, and so we are going to discard that change. Yes, discard all edits. That only discards the edit we made to the actual field value, not the changes that we made to the nickname of the columns. Okay, what else can we do? Well, we can get summary information on the whole column. For example, we can right-click and generate statistics about the column. We get over here on the right, mean, median, standard deviation, etc. And we get a histogram, and this is, I'm just going to make the histogram look nicer by increasing the number of bins. So here's the histogram of the data in the column child alc %. What do you think? It's probably, the mean and everything is artificially low because there are 13 out of 50 or so values have a 0. I think those are fields with missing data, states that didn't report a number for this column. How can we get around that? We could delete those. That's one option. We can delete those rows. But for now, let's close the statistics, and I'll show you another thing we could potentially do. We could select all of the rows that don't have zeros here. And that would be select by attribute. So I'm going back to the map menu, select by attribute. I'll make a new selection. I'll give it a new expression, and I will choose all the records where the child alcohol percentage is greater than 0. Okay. That gets us 36 of the 49 records. And with these selected, if I right-click on the top and calculate statistics again, and I'll make my histogram nice again, now we see that we have 2 columns here. We get a report of the statistics for the data set and a report of the statistics just for the selection. So it's probably likely that the mean is a lot closer to 28.7 where you've removed those 0 values. Okay. Let's clear selected features. We can also, there's a button called Summarize that basically does the same thing. It calculates statistics, but it saves them out as a separate table. I don't think I'll bother doing that right now.